When we talk about Montessori today, we often talk about materials. We talk about lessons, we talk about classrooms. But Maria Montessori was never just designing a method. She was responding to a world in crisis. Montessori lived through war, fascism, displacement, and mass violence. She watched children grow up inside systems that taught obedience, competition, and fear, and then wondered why those same children grew into adults who repeated those patterns on a global scale. Sound familiar? Her conclusion was radical for her time, and still radical now. Peace cannot be achieved through treaties or force. Peace must be built through education. But Montessori did not mean education as schooling alone. She meant education as the formation of the human spirit. She believed that if we wanted a peaceful world, we had to stop trying to control children and instead prepare adults, environments, and systems that honored children's dignity, independence, and capacity for moral development. This is why Montessori wrote and spoke about education as the path to peace, not as a metaphor, but as a strategy. She understood something many systems still resist acknowledging. Children are not born violent. They are shaped by the conditions we place them in. When children grow up in environments that prioritize compliance over curiosity, punishment over understanding, and hierarchy over belonging, they learn that power comes from domination. But when children grow up in environments rooted in respect, agency, responsibility, and care for the collective, they learn something else entirely. They learn justice. Montessori classrooms were designed as a quiet rebellion against the dominant systems of her time. Mixed age communities instead of rigid ranking, freedom within limits instead of authoritarian control, collaboration instead of competition, care for the environment as a reflection of care for one another. This was not accidental. Montessori believed that peace was not the absence of conflict, it was the presence of justice, dignity, and right relationship. And that belief feels especially urgent right now because today we are raising children inside systems marked by inequity, surveillance, radicalized and racialized discipline, underfunded care, and increasing fear based policymaking. We cannot claim Montessori's legacy while ignoring the systems that undermine children's safety and belonging. We cannot talk about peace while remaining neutral in the face of harm. Montessori warned us about this. She said that adults often become the obstacle to peace, not because they are cruel, but because they are unwilling to examine their own power, bias, and complicity. Which brings us to the prepared adult. The prepared adult is not someone who stays calm at all costs. The prepared adult is not neutral. The prepared adult is not silent when systems harm children. The prepared adult is someone who understands that education is always shaping values, whether we name them or not. And that means education is always political. This does not mean partisan, it means consequential. When funding for childcare is paused, children feel it. When immigrant led programs are targeted through racialized narratives, children feel it. When policies prioritize control over care, children learn exactly what the world values. Montessori believed that peace required adults to intervene, not to dominate, but to protect conditions where justice could take root. She believed that peace required courage, and she believed that education had a moral obligation to challenge systems that dehumanize. So when we say Montessori is a movement, this is what we mean. It is not just a set of materials on a shelf. It is not just a classroom aesthetic. It is not just a pedagogy. It is a refusal to accept violence as inevitable, a refusal to raise children inside systems of fear, a refusal to separate education from justice. Education as the path to peace means preparing children who know how to care for themselves, for others, for the world, and preparing adults who are brave enough to disrupt systems that threaten that possibility. Peace is not quiet. Peace is not passive. Peace is not neutral. Peace is justice in action, learned early, practiced daily, and defended collectively. And Montessori, at its root, is a call to build that world, starting with the child. This has been Montessori Unlocked.